Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here, and I want to talk to you guys about the Suicide Squad. And forgive me before I even begin because I may trail off. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to go with this discussion of the Suicide Squad because I don't really plan these videos that I do. I don't write them out. I just kind of go with the flow and just tell you how it is and just go with it. But I don't want to do really a traditional review of the Suicide Squad so much so as I want to just discuss the movie. I just want to talk about the movie. And the Suicide Squad's finally been released, and I'm sure, as most of you guys out there know, it's gotten a lot of bad reviews. Some horrible reviews. And I did something that I never do with a movie that I plan on seeing in the theaters, particularly one that I'm going to review on this channel. I read reviews, and I watched reviews. And the reviews were pretty... they were scathingly entertaining. Critics called this movie a garbage fire. They called it a complete and utter catastrophe, a bona fide mess. One critic went so far as to say that Harley Quinn's derriere is featured more prominently in the film than some of the characters. And, of course, there's so much riding on the line with this movie in the wake of the Batman v Superman catastrophe. And as you all know, Suicide Squad, they went through reshoots, they went through rewrites because I think Warner Brothers, they saw the bad press and the bad feedback that they got from Batman v Superman, and they said, it's because of the tone of the movie. It's too dark. It's too dark. So let's liven this thing up. Let's lighten Suicide Squad up. Let's go back. Let's do some reshoots. Let's throw a bunch of music in there. Let's lighten things up. And that, for me, that wasn't the problem with Batman v Superman. Warner Brothers took their own legs out from under them with Batman v Superman in that edit that they released theatrically. But that's a totally other video. So they went in and they tampered with the Suicide Squad. And that was my major concern. How much did they tamper with the Suicide Squad? Now, I was really excited when I first heard about the film. I love anti-heroes. I love anti-hero movies. And what a perfect anti-hero plot this is. The government is putting together this team comprised of DC Universe villains and forcing them to work together in order to save the world. That sounds pretty good to me. I think that's just a great premise for a movie, a comic, whatever. That's a great premise. Then we got that first trailer. And that first Suicide Squad trailer was really bad. That first Suicide Squad trailer was really bad. Like that point in it where Will Smith goes, so are we some kind of Suicide Squad? I just was like, oh God, no. Then, of course, they released those trailers that were, that had the Wayne's World music in them. Basically, they just co-opted the Wayne's World soundtrack and they cut some really good trailers that showcased the lighter tone of the movie. And people reacted really well to those trailers, and that prompted Warner Brothers to go and do some reshoots. And now the Suicide Squad is a bit messy. It's a messy movie. It feels, the only word that comes to mind is choppy. And that's because you can tell there's quite a bit edited out of this movie. It feels almost as if they chopped, it feels like a movie that has a first act and a third act. They jump from, here's the Suicide Squad, here's a bunch of their backstories, here's what they're, here's why they're in prison, here's why they're the bad guys, and then they jump immediately to, they're saving the world. And there's very little transition there. And I'm sure when Suicide Squad comes out on Blu-ray, there's going to be a 2.5 hour, probably extended cut or director's cut. Or there may possibly even be completely different versions of the movie. There might be the dark version of the movie, and then the lighter version of the movie, and then the, just the super ultimate director's cut of the movie that's 2.5 hours, 3 hours long. That's how it feels like. This movie feels chopped. This movie feels heavily edited. There's sequences in the movie that, for me, just seemed completely like reshoots. Like that was a reshot scene for no other reason than to feature Harley Quinn just on her own for 2 minutes. Just a 2-minute throwaway scene just of Harley Quinn to give her more to do. And having said that, I really enjoyed the Suicide Squad. I really had a good time with it. They set up the movie really well. It's kind of... It's a little odd the way... The first 20 minutes of the movie is basically all set up. It's all backstory. It's here's Deadshot. Here's his backstory with his daughter. He's the world's greatest assassin. But... he's got a little bit of a heart. He loves his daughter. Here's Harley Quinn's backstory. She was, of course, the doctor in Arkham Asylum. She got twisted and turned into Harley Quinn by the Joker. Here's Killer Croc. Here's Boomerang. You know what I mean? On and on and on. Here's all these characters. And they spend a good chunk of the movie telling us about the characters. And that felt a little... The movie kind of got started on some I don't want to say on some shaky ground, put it that way. On a little bit of shaky ground, but Will Smith does a great job as Deadshot. This is one of the best Will Smith performances I've seen in a long time. He's a badass. He's got, ice water in his veins, but, there is a little bit of heart there, and it didn't feel overbearing. I was really hoping that they wouldn't go over the top with, yeah, he's Deadshot, he's the world's greatest assassin, he's killed untold scores of people, but he loves his daughter, and he's got a heart of gold, and blah, blah, blah. It didn't become overbearing, and I appreciated that very much. It felt real, it felt honest, it felt genuine. I dug it. Will Smith was great. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn was phenomenal. She owned that role. It appeared as if she was having a complete and utter blast playing Harley Quinn, and that comes through on the screen. She's sexy, but she is completely and utterly insane. Jai Courtney as Boomerang. And now Jai Courtney, to be nice, is not the most eye-grabbing actor when he's on screen. In Suicide Squad as Boomerang, he is really good. He brings charm, he brings charisma, and I gotta tell you, in those scenes where it's him, it's Will Smith, and it's Margot Robbie, he's holding his own, and he was just an interesting character. A lot of great one-liners. I'm telling you, Jai Courtney almost steals the show. Almost steals the show. The dude who played Killer Croc, fantastic. Jay Hernandez, who played Diablo, phenomenal performance. Again, he comes through really. He comes on kind of toward the end of the movie and almost steals the movie. In fact, he may honestly steal the Suicide Squad. His performance is phenomenal. Loved Jay Hernandez as Diablo. Fantastic performance. And what I liked about the movie was it's this big ensemble cast. And my fear was it was going to be the Deadshot and Harley Quinn show. And Deadshot and Harley Quinn are featured prominently. They're the stars of the movie. No doubt about that. But all those other characters, they get their moments. And they don't just feel like third wheels. They don't just kind of come and go. And that was what I read in a lot of reviews, was that they just kind of come and go, and there's just nothing tangible about them, about their characters, and it's all about Will Smith, and it's all about Margot Robbie. I totally disagree. I felt like they gave them enough to do to make them substantial in the film, and the actors portraying those characters did a good enough job to make them memorable and to make them stand out. And I really dug it.
Ha ha ha. I almost forgot to talk about... I'm sorry, that's awful. I apologize. I almost forgot to talk about the new Joker in the Suicide Squad, played by Jared Leto. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. He plays this millennial, I do all my shopping at Hot Topic kind of hipster Joker, which is odd because his mannerisms and the way he talks is almost like a Prohibition era gangster, combined with the millennial Hot Topic victim thing. It works more than it doesn't. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly serviceable. It's okay.
The sort of camaraderie amongst the villains, the honor amongst the thieves that they kind of develop along the way, I really appreciated that as well. That was handled really well. That was good writing. That was good acting. That was strong directing from David Ayer, who I really love Training Day that he wrote. End of Watch that I'm pretty sure he wrote and directed that one. Really enjoyed it. And Street Kings, really liked that film as well. He does a phenomenal job. The dude knows action sequences, and there are some really nice action sequences in the film. It does get a little overly hectic kind of toward the end, like there's no sense of really where you are or really what's going on. It's just action for action's sake, and there's a million gunshots going off and explosions and this and that everywhere. The main villain or villains of the film really ultimately aren't that strong. We kind of the main villain of the movie really is just the government itself that would put these people together to basically save the world. And you know what I mean? If they screw up, we'll kill them. If they try to run, we'll kill them. If they fail, we'll kill them. If they don't save the world, we're going to kill them. And if they do save the world, we'll knock 5 or 10 years off of their life sentence. The real villain in the movie is kind of the government, or this one character that sort of sets it all up, and that actress's name totally escapes me at the moment, but she does a fantastic job. There is the character of the soldier who's kind of the leader of the group. His name escapes me at the moment. I apologize, but he did a phenomenal job in the film. All the performances in this movie were really, really good. The only problem really with it is from the editing of the movie. There's pacing issues, but that could be from the editing. Like I said, it feels kind of choppy. It feels like there's very little to no second act of the movie, but I think that is because they cut a lot of stuff out of the movie. They reshot a lot of stuff to just kind of make it lighter and kind of pad it out, and that's unfortunate because what we have in the Suicide Squad, this theatrical version, is highly entertaining and a lot of fun to watch, and I really enjoyed it. And, whereas with Batman v Superman, that movie felt like a much, much longer movie than it really was. With Suicide Squad, I wanted more. I wanted more out of that movie. And I felt like there was definitely a lot more there that they just sort of left on the cutting room floor. So, yeah. I really dug Suicide Squad. Despite its limitations, I think brought forcibly subjected on the film by Warner Brothers. The cast is phenomenal. Great casting, great ensemble casting. Like I said, Will Smith, one of the best performances I've seen from him in a long time. Margot Robbie, fantastic. Jai Courtney, my goodness, Jai Courtney brings it in the Suicide Squad. Jay Hernandez, fantastic. Great ensemble cast, great characters. I just don't understand, like a lot of those reviews, and this was one of the reasons why I don't like reviews. I don't want to put any kind of preconceived notions about the movie based on those reviews, but at the same time, and especially with these reviews, it's almost as if, and I don't want to be conspiratorial here, like these critics had it out for the Suicide Squad before they even went into the movie. It's like they had the review written before they even saw the film, because, Margot Robbie's derriere is certainly there, Is it featured prominently? No, not really. Are there characters that just kind of disappear and reappear and they have no bearing or weight on the plot? I didn't think so. Is it a complete catastrophe? Is it a complete and utter mess? Is it a garbage fire? No, it's a little messy. It's a little rough around the edges, but clearly Warner Brothers went in and they tampered with it a little bit. But overall, thoroughly entertaining, totally enjoyable. If you've not seen The Suicide Squad because of all these negative reviews, do yourself a favor, go out, check it out, watch the movie for yourself, come up with your own objective opinion of The Suicide Squad, and I definitely think you'll enjoy it. So anyway, those are my thoughts on The Suicide Squad. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you dug the video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you've seen Suicide Squad, please let me know what you think of it in the comments section below. It's made a ton of money, so clearly a lot of people went out and saw it despite the negative reviews. And so good for Suicide Squad, good for the DC universe, and good for Warner Brothers, even though clearly they tampered with the film a little bit. But anyway, you guys take it easy, and until next time, peace.